I was, we're just getting familiar with the live streaming, and so Salakia that we weren't able to read the comments and things on there. Go ahead.
Con. Going on in 2 Maccabees 6, verse 2. And that in Gerzim of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in the book.
That's right. So Israel began to proclaim, to call upon the name of Jupiter within the temple. All right? And Jupiter was what? He was the defender of the strangers, which is beautiful, man. Because they already began to, it's not beautiful, but for the edification it is. All right? Because they began to bash in to our heads, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, they began to bash in the idea that we're the strangers, when that's not the case. All right, going back to Second Esdras, the world was created for the Israelite. The world was created for the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American. And all the way back then, they began to bash in the idea of us being strangers. That's why you got us so fucked up today, man. Go ahead.
Going on. Did desire that dwelt in the place, the coming.
Hey, and that's an exact example there, man. Remember we were saying earlier, at the beginning of the flipping of the tables, man. You got this Edomite came up. She could have been a Jake, you don't know, but she appeared to be an Edomite, and she came up saying that she was dying of starvation. Go ahead.
Verse 3. The coming in of the Smith. Mischief was sore and grievous to the people, for the temple was full and riot and reveling by the Gentiles who dallied with harlots.
That's right. This is what began to happen in the temple of the Heavenly Father. All right? Go ahead.
And had to do.
And you got to understand, too, that the temple was once so pure that a woman couldn't walk into it if she was on her period. If a man had spilled his semen, he would have to wait till the following, or till evening, after he had washed, because that made you unclean, to be able to walk in there, man. Matter of fact, if a woman had touched your shoulder, she come up and said, "Hey, excuse me," and she was on her period, you couldn't go into that temple because Most High would kill you. You would be consumed with fire as you walk in there, man. Or you would just drop dead. And there's many accounts of that. And now in this place, we were under the curses so bad, man. The Heavenly Father let our enemies rule over us so much that all this wickedness is happening. You had harlots within there, men having sex with men, man, because you got to understand the so-called Caucasian was setting that standard. Go ahead, man. Homosexuality is a fucking Edomite thing.
As you could see today, man, they got that same stuff going on in these Christian churches, man. Nope. The same thing.
God,
we accept. Exactly right. We could accept anything.
That shows you that they're of the world. Just like we got that that dude earlier. Yeah, we're breaking that down to those that are of the world are going to hear the world.
But you got a job, money. Oh, okay. We'll take it. Yep. They don't care nothing about the poor and needy, man. Going on. And had to do with the woman within the circuit of the holy places, and besides that, brought in things that were not lawful. The altar also was filled with profane things, which the law forbiddeth. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days.
Right. It was to the point where they made it against the law for a man to keep a Sabbath day. Go ahead, brother.
Or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
That's right. It was made against the law for you to say I'm a Hebrew Israelite. That was against the law of the so-called Grecians. All right, and this is the beginning of the downfall of Israel. Now go ahead and jump from there, brother, to Lamentations, the 5th chapter. right, this is the beginning of the downfall of these so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. When you began to forget who you were, you stopped calling yourselves Israel. Then you started to take on other names. What did they say in the book of Acts? One of the churches was called nigger. That's what the book of Acts says, man. That's what they call one of the churches. All right, so then they begin to put all these bywords upon us. All right, calling you Spics, Mexicans, whatever the case was, man. Calling the Native American a Native American, or calling them Redskins. You know, all these names were beginning to be put on us, man, and we began to follow those things. Calling yourself African American under the name of two Edomite men. So this is why our women got to get destroyed too, man. This is what the women of Israel look like today. Ain't that a goddamn shame? I know you brothers saw that on the video, man. Goddamn shame. It's supposed to be setting the standard for our people, man. It's supposed to be setting the standard for the women to follow. But that's why there's going to be a lot of death coming to this place. No, brother, it's after, it's in between Jeremiah and Isaiah. Or maybe it's after Jeremiah. Lamentations 5. Let's start at the first verse.
On this side of the book, Lamentations 5 verse 1. Remember, O Lord, what has come up upon us. Consider and behold our reproach.
Remember what's come upon our people. Don't remember us. Remember the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American. All right, we've been put under subjection. We've been put under captivity. But it's pleading upon the Most High to remember His people. Go ahead, brother.
Our inheritance is turned to strangers.
That's right, our inheritance. What's our inheritance? The kingdom. All right, the land of Israel that we inherited through the Heavenly Father from the Canaanites. We went and we destroyed the Canaanites because they were living in wickedness, just like we were getting out of Wisdom of Solomon. What chapter?
It was 7 or 12.
Con, Wisdom of Solomon, the 12th chapter. All right, we went and we inherited that place because of their wickedness. Now, because of our wickedness, we have nations that inherited that. Now, who fulfilled this prophecy? Somebody has to be living in Israel that don't belong there. All right, that's why the president of Egypt said that they'll never have peace in Israel because they left black and came back white. The so-called white man don't belong down there. That's the Middle East, for crying out loud. Get scorched with the sun and shriveled up, man. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 3. Oh, Slakia. Finishing up verse 2. Our house to aliens.
Con, our house is given to aliens, the strangers. All right, the heathens. Go ahead, brother.
We are orphans and fatherless.
That's right. That's what the so-called Israelite has become. All right, the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American. We left our one true power, which is the Heavenly Father. So we became orphans. We separated ourselves through our own wickedness. Go ahead, brother.
Our mothers are as widows. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us.
So our water, we got to pay for it now. You got to pay to drink water. You got to pay for if you want some wood, you got to pay for it. Even though the goddamn cracker stole it, you got to pay him so you can build a house. Go ahead, bro.
Our necks are under persecution.
Right, and our necks are constantly under persecution because this ain't your rest, man.
That's right.
Go ahead, brother.
We labor and have no rest.
That's right. The so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American, they labor and have no rest. This because this ain't our rest, man. This ain't our kingdom, and this ain't our place of joy. America was created to be destroyed. The so-called white man was brought up to be destroyed. Go ahead, brother.
We have given the land to the Egyptians and to the Assyrians to be satisfied
That's right, man.
with bread.
These heathens have begun to rule over us. Go ahead.
Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we have borne.
That's right. So why going back to the book of Wisdom of Solomon, the 12th chapter, it said to remember their ways, establish it in the gates, man. Remember what our forefathers were doing against the Heavenly Father. Because the same spirits are here today.
Calm, man.
Are the same 2/3 of Israel are here today, and they're going to receive death in this time. Go ahead, brother.
Our fathers have sinned and are not.
Hey, that's the spirit. Look, listen what he's little praying, brother.
Calm.
All around me are familiar
Yeah.
faces. And that's true, man. The same spirits are here today, just like I said.
They actually say when the Most High comes back, man, that the people that actually what's it?
The people that crucified
Yeah,
him.
crucified him are gonna see him. You're gonna see him in that day.
As Christians,
We are Hebrew Israelites. We don't believe in any idols or anything like that.
yeah, neither do I, but I'm a Christian too.
Yeah, but that's an idol, though.
This is a cross, whether it's Jesus Christ.
Cross is an
Pick
idol.
up your cross and carry it with you. You know, you're not worthy.
It was a symbolic thing because your cross is supposed to symbolize what? Your persecution. All right, when you take on this Bible and you push this truth, you're going to receive persecution. All right, we just actually received. We had the Coptics harassing us. We had a transvestite came and kicked the sign at us.
It's terrible.
You know, and so that's what it's talking about.
Israel? You're from Israel or you were born here?
We were born here,
I
but
have a little Israelite blood in me, like only about 3%.
jump back a little bit, brother. We're
I
breaking it
lost
down.
my Bible. I'm sorry, guys.
It's all right. It's all right. We deal
I
with
know
the
it is,
scriptures. If
but
you're gonna say some stuff, just make sure it's proved with the scriptures. You know what I mean?
Back up.
But we ain't out here for no arguments or anything. You know,
Oh,
if,
no.
hey, if the spirit is within you, you're gonna understand what we're breaking down.
Go back up.
Yeah, go to the about the strangers living in our land, right? Because the original 12 tribes of Israel consists of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Those are the original 12 tribes according to history and according to the Bible. You know where the oldest form of Hebrew was found actually? Here in America, but it was in New Mexico. In New Mexico, they found it. It was